Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Anisha from Oman Book Lovers Club. Thank you all for joining in today for our live chat on the occasion of Omani Teachers Day. Before we get started with our chat, I would like to take this opportunity to talk briefly about Oman Book Lovers Club. Founded for the sheer love for books and reading, to borrow, share, exchange books, and meet fellow book lovers, it has transitioned into so much more and created its own identity over the last 4 years. The vision was to connect all book lovers in Oman to make it one stop for all things books, all information on books and book lovers and reading. We have something for everyone. Connect with fellow book lovers and talk about your favorite books, share your books, and borrow from other members. Meet fellow book lovers through our various segments and events for different genres, different age groups. There are book reviews, recommendations, people seeking suggestions for books for themselves and for kids, members growing each other's TBR, you name it. Members can choose which activity they enjoy most and engage in that. A happy space for book lovers in Oman and across. Today, as we talk to our two special guests in honor of Omani Teachers Day, we will explore their journey as educators in Oman, coming from different backgrounds and experiences. Both our guests today are published authors, as one would expect at OBLC. I would like to now welcome them both on the stage with me, and then I will go for the introductions. Welcome, Dr. Kauthar.
Hello,
And
how are you?
hi, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Thank you for the invite.
You're most welcome, and it's our pleasure to have you. Welcome, Dr. Zainab. Thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you.
So, I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce our guests for today. Dr. Kauthar Hamid Abdullah is an educational psychologist and special education expert with over 25 years of experience working with children with disabilities and learning challenges. She holds an doctorate in education in educational psychology and special education, along with bachelor's and master's degree in elementary education and an associate degree in special education. She is the co-founder of Creative Center for Rehabilitation, a center that provides special education support, speech therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral therapies, and psychological testing in Muscat since 2007. The center also offers assessments and support for adults with intellectual disabilities and learning challenges. She also has her own private practice. Dr. Abdullah is also a children's book author, focusing on raising awareness about different disabilities and challenges. Her books aim to foster understanding, inclusion, and support for children with diverse needs. She actively works on content creation, focusing on educational awareness, therapy strategies, and professional guidance for parents and educators. She runs a YouTube channel, Special Ed Talk, and produces lectures, interviews, and workshops to support children with special needs. Welcome, Dr. Kauthar.
Thank you. Thank you for
Dr.
the welcome and introduction.
It's our pleasure to have you today with us. Dr. Zainab Ansari, born and brought up in this beautiful country, an author of 2 poetry books and 1 journal, co-authored 69 books, been writing from at least 2 decades, a professor who teaches graduation and post-graduation students since last 10 years. A warm welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Great. So let's begin with Dr. Kauthar, if I may. Sorry, excuse me. If you could go back in time, Dr. Kauthar, what advice would you give yourself on your first day as an educator?
I still remember my first day as an educator. I think I would tell myself, patience, breathe, relax. Everything is going to be okay. My first day as working in a school was as a KG1 teacher. By the end of the day, I really thought I was going to pull out my hair. The children were just a little bit over energized. So I think it would just to learn patience, Just be patient with the kids, be patient with yourself, understand that you'll get through this. And, with practice comes experience.
Hmm. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. Going to you, Dr. Zainab, could you start by sharing with us your journey as an educator in Oman? What inspired you to enter this profession?
Well, I can tell you that I'm a third generation teacher. My mother's mother, she was a teacher. My mother was a teacher, and I became a professor. So it was my desire to aid others, help them in understanding simpler things, and or making the concept simple that got me into this line of teaching.
That's wonderful. Um, so, going over to Dr. Kauthar, what is one lesson your students have taught you that you'll never forget?
I think persistence. You persist. I remember I had a child that I've had many of them that had a lot of problem in reaching their goals, or I remember some that they couldn't read, in upper grade classes, and just persistence. As you persist in your goal, you will reach it, but you have to keep striving for that goal. If you give up, you give up. You're not going to reach that goal. So I think persistence is the main thing, and patience with the persistence that a lot of my students have taught me.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful thought. Going over to Dr. Zainab, as an experienced educator, can you share a particularly memorable or rewarding moment you've had with your students that reinforced your passion for teaching?
Well, I had this student, okay, and he was doing his bachelor's, and he was a challenge student. And while doing it in the class, the concepts and teaching, he would forget. And every few minutes, he would ask, "Can you please revise?" And the drive that he had, the determination to learn despite his challenge, he got an excellent grade. And that made me firm that no matter what happens, I have to teach. There are others who are keen on learning, and it is my duty to teach them.
That's wonderful. Uh, I can resonate with that. So, going over to Dr. Kauthar for the next topic, if you had unlimited resources, what changes would you make to your classroom or teaching approach?
Oh, I know that right away. The first thing I would do is put educational centers within the classroom. This is kind of an old technique, old school technique. It was around when I was in school, where once a child had finished their work, they could go to these educational centers. So we didn't have computer center back then, but we did have like a science center, math center, language center, and they were all set up around the classroom. So
Yeah.
kids could actually get up from their chairs and they could go over and they could practice skills in these centers. And this was actually up to grade 5. So as the kids, as the kid got older, of course, the curriculum and the centers became more challenging. But of course, we would add technology to it. There's no technology there was no technology then. But this is one thing I would definitely add in. So the kids, instead of being bored in their seats and causing issues with their neighbor classmate, they could
Hmm.
go and do an activity in one of the centers. That is one thing I would add. And also more hands-on approach to learning. Not necessary. I mean, for me, I don't like them doing lessons all day on a computer. But there's other kinds of hands-on activities, and also movement breaks.
Hmm.
The kids, they need movement breaks, and that's one thing about the center. They could get up and they could go to one, say, a science center, or
Right.
a language arts center or a math center, and they could do some kind of hands-on activities in these centers. So that is something that I would like implement in a classroom.
That's lovely. Very interesting. Actually, allowing the flexibility, I think, helps
Yeah,
with the opening up the minds and the creativity and
and
imagination.
it helps with the behavior as well.
Hmm. Correct. That's true. Very interesting. So, next, I'll go to Dr. Zainab. Looking ahead, how do you see the future of education in Oman evolving, especially in the context of the country's Vision 2040?
Um, I can tell you one thing, that Oman has come a very far place, like it has in positive manner, and even in the further times, it's going to expand in a very systematic and beautiful manner. There are a lot of universities, colleges, institutions. The way the youth is learning, like the degree programs, they're just into education. It gives me so much of happiness that in the coming years we're going to have a much more diverse degree platforms with intellectual youth.
Lovely. Lovely. Dr. Gotha, would you like to add something on this?
No, I think that they will. Um, I believe that it will become more diverse, and I believe that they are already implementing integrated learning for kids with challenges in the school system. There's many schools that have opened support sections and special education centers, not centers, sections within the school system. And I'm really happy to see that because it's something that is actually needed in the mainstream schools. And I think this will develop more and more over time.
I really, we look forward to that, all of us. So,
Hmm.
I'm going to take a couple of questions that are coming in from the audience in the comments on the live stream. One of the first questions is addressed to Dr. Kotha. That's nice. How do you balance teaching with your personal life and self care?
After six, that's it.
Yeah.
after after 6 o'clock or sometimes seven, that is my time. That's my time with my kids. That's the time if we want to go out to a restaurant or for a walk or something, we do that. You have to learn not to take things home.
Hmm.
Usually in the schools, I know in my center and many of the elementary schools, the teacher has a time for doing paperwork. You
Hmm.
should stick to that time and
Yeah.
not bring that home. When I was an elementary school teacher, I had my, I guess you call paperwork time. And that's when I did paperwork, even when I was working in the university. I tried not to take things home. I tried to correct papers during my paperwork time. So that is something that I know a lot of teachers, they just end up taking things home and just doing it at home. They find it easier, but it's not easier for your family life. So, for me, when I was a teacher, I would just, when I went home, that was my time with my family.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of teachers need to, kind of implement the strategy, organize their time so that they could do all their correcting, their
Yeah.
photocopies, whatever they need to do during their, their the time that the school gives them for paperwork, and try not to bring things home. So that is what I always did.
Wonderful. Dr. Zainab, can I direct this at you also? How do you balance?
Well, the thing is that I love teaching, and my class timings vary, but I make sure that I give myself time. I love to read books. I'm an author, so I spend my energy writing, penning
Hmm.
down my thoughts. I would go to the beach. That's my relaxation time. I have a cat. I would play with her. And these are some of the things that I would prioritize as self care for
Hmm.
myself. But yes, if and when the demand comes from the students, sometimes they need help, then I don't see what time and it is. Their education matters a lot too.
Hmm. Great, great, great. That's very nice. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm just looking at the comments here. Our viewers say hello there. Hi,
Hi.
thank you for joining. Sorry. So there's an audience question. I'll just read that out to Dr. Zainab. What qualities do you think are important for a teacher to succeed?
I would say the number one is patience. A teacher has to be patient no matter what the situation, how many times a student asks you a question, you have to explain the concept. You have to be patient. There's going to be ups and downs. Maybe the syllabus is not completed, or maybe there's a deadline for you to complete it, or maybe the student is struggling with something. You have to be patient. And the other thing that is very important for a teacher to succeed is the teacher needs to upgrade himself or herself. There are so many certification courses, learning. It's like an ongoing journey that no matter what happens, what situation, you have to keep yourself up to date in the education field and put yourself, and this one is really important, you have to come down to the level of the child or the student, no matter which age, which group, and think how do they think, from their perspective. Put yourself in the shoes of the students, and that's one way that how will they understand the concept. That is important for a teacher to succeed.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Kotha, would you like to add something on this?
Well, she pretty much said everything I would say, but
Mm.
one of the most important things is that patience, like she said. And if a child has a temper tantrum or something in the classroom, yelling at that child is not going to help the situation. It's probably going to make
Yeah.
the situation worse. So patience is very, very, important. And she, what she said, getting down to the child's level. Yes, this is,
Yeah.
how you deal with a child. I really wouldn't add anything else that, from what she said.
Hmm. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm just looking at the comments there to see what next. Right, I'll take this one. Audience question to Dr. Kothar. What is the most rewarding part of being a teacher that keeps you motivated?
I think when you see the child or a student completing a task where he couldn't complete 6 months ago. I used to have one student when I was teaching, I guess it was around grade 2 here in Oman, and he couldn't read. He couldn't read in either language. He had dyslexia. And I used to take him aside to help him whenever there was a free time, like if for sports or these extracurricular activities if he didn't want to go. And he started learning how to read. And my greatest joy was when I really saw that he had learned how to read. That was one of my best things that I had seen that child, where he finally understood how to decode the word to learn how to read.
Very nice. Interesting. Dr. Zainab, would you like to add something from your side?
I would say that the thank you that you get, when they just say just thank you, this small thank you they say for achieving, that they have achieved something, their step by step growth. That's
Yeah.
the best thing that can keep you motivated.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm not a teacher, but I think I can relate to that part. Nice. So, looking at the comments again coming in from Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. Okay, let's take this one. Audience question to Dr. Zainab. In your opinion, how important is the relationship between the teachers and students in shaping the learning environment and outcomes?
It's the most important one. It's said that school is the second home for a student, like a child, no matter which age, which group, but it is like a home away from home.
Yeah,
So the relationship between a student and teacher is very crucial. The right mindset, the right path, would shape the child not just with the syllabus matter, rather life changing. You are teaching the child how to go about in the world, survive, how to connect with different people. It could be parents, siblings, uncles, aunties, servants, spheres of life, how to do shopping. It's like the way you motivate and guide them. It's not just the study material, but what's going to happen with them in life. It's very
Yeah.
important. So the moment you have a connection with teacher and student, that is a life going, it's like a lifelong thing. I want to add something to this, that like I said, I'm a third generation teacher. So I've seen my mother have these students, couple of students, and they would come, like, we love the way you have taught us, and they remember. And same thing has happened with me, that I have taught a couple of them, a lot of them actually. And the way they come back and they say, we have achieved this, you have done that. It has not stopped just after the degree or the postgraduate degrees, but it has been going on. It's like an ongoing relationship that comes.
Yes. There's one more question. I'll take it from YouTube. How the role of teacher has evolved over the years. Dr. Kotha, would you like to answer that?
I think it's involved immensely. I can say that when I was going to school, teachers didn't really have a personal connection with the kids. Now I find that the teachers actually do make this personal connection to the
Hmm.
kids. We teachers understand the emotional part of teaching, understand the kids' emotional issues. They understand now the kids may have problems at home, and they are trying to may bridge a gap between the child and the parent. So
Hmm.
it's not just about the teaching of academics, it's about the emotional part of teaching. And I think that has evolved a lot, oh, quite a
Hmm.
lot, especially in my home country. Um, and, you know, I think also here amongst the teachers, they have learned that you just don't teach academics. You are building a person, you are building a child. You are, they're going to be out in the world one day working and making their own way. And we are with these children for 8 hours a day or 6 hours a
Yeah.
day. And we are also a part of building their character and building their personality. So I think that has evolved over the years. Curriculum wise, yeah, it's got tougher. It's more challenging than it was before. But I think the personal aspect is more, important than actually the academic aspect. That aspect will always be there. But we need
Hmm.
to know that the kids are our future. They're the ones that will be building their countries tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, for sure. Dr. Zaina, would you like to add something?
I would say one thing, that as in the olden times, we were not that free with the teachers. We had that
Hmm.
fear that, if say something, they
Yeah.
might judge us or they might not understand. But today,
Hmm.
and especially more as technology has taken over our lives in a very positive manner, it's quite accessible. They are very accessible to us. So what
Hmm.
happens is they can connect to us, and they know that we are going to be there for them no
Yeah.
matter what the condition is of their education, life, anything. So yeah, it's a diverse thing, expanded, I should say.
Nice. So Trupti says thank you for your
You're
views.
most welcome.
There's another question coming in from another member. This is from Facebook. What is your advice to parents of teens? Thank you, Samina, for the question.
Um, for me, I would say um, try to, bridge a gap between you. Number one, when you push a teen too hard, what they do is they'll fight with you, they'll argue, they will not do what you're saying. But if you have that good relationship with them and you can engage more in a conversational way, instead of nagging them, they
Hmm.
are more willing to do what you want them to do. Um, so this is, you know, pretty much a big thing, because if you cannot engage with your teen and try
Hmm.
them, you, the teen will just be very aggressive with you. They will not listen to you. They will do the opposite of what you're saying. So
Right.
you need to find the bridge. You need to find the bridge and learn how to communicate with them effectively without anger, without aggression. So the teenage years are very difficult time. I have 4 children, and my youngest is 25. And I'm
Ah,
glad those 8 years are over.
yeah.
But for me, this is how I did it. I tried to be more of a friend, but yet still a parent to the to my kids, and we discussed what they should do, what they shouldn't do. I took their opinions, and we usually used to do it as a family meeting, because all of my kids except for one are close in age. So I could get the opinions of the other children, and so it came more of a discussion instead
Hmm.
of, no, you have to do this, no, you
Hmm.
can't do that, no, you have to do this and this and this. No, it came, okay, who's going to do this, whose turn is it to do the dishes tonight, whose turn is it to do this, and about homework, about anything. You have to find a way of communicating effectively with your teenager. If you don't bridge that gap, you're going to have a lot of problems. I know here, especially in the Middle East and India, Pakistan, Asia, the parents seem to be really over strict and sometimes overbearing on the kids. And what that does, it causes rebellion. It They rebel against their parents, and we don't want to see the rebellion. So the best way to bridge this is through intelligent discussion. Not demands, not being aggressive, but intelligent discussion where you can actually come to your child and discuss it. I didn't like how you did this, and this is the reason why I didn't like what you did. You give them reasons, you give them
Yeah.
example, and they're more likely to respond to that in a more positive way.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very true. Dr. Zainab, bringing this to you, I'm referring to and connecting it with the earlier question about the relationship with students. And you and I were talking earlier one time when you said that it's not just the students, but the relationship extends to the educator's relationship with parents. And I think
Yes.
this, I would, addressing this question to you, I would like you to cover, connect it with that and cover that aspect if you would like.
See, it is, you have, as parents and educators, teenage years are the most difficult because they're no more children, they're still not adult, they have this identity crisis. And what can be done is, as teachers and as parents, you have to be open with them, open communication, show them that yes, we have gone through this age and we understand the things that have happened. True, that age was quite different, this age is very different, but yes, some things can get connected. You have to be a friend and no judgment,
Yeah.
because as parents and educators we tend to become a bit judgmental. It's like a by default thing in us, no matter how much we work on it. But yes, there is this thing, but no judgment. Give them value, that okay, this is my opinion, what do you think? Okay, give them importance. When you give them importance, then things will move forward. And I believe, this is my personal thing, that counseling should be done. It's not a bad thing. Counseling should be done for teachers, students and parents. We should be taught how to deal with each group, what is a positive manner, how to take forward with things. That's how I would say that the advice.
Nice. Thank you so much.
You're most
Um,
welcome.
So, I would like to take this opportunity. I have both your books in hand, and I would like to take this opportunity to show to our members. This is the book authored by Dr. Kauthar. I think your granddaughter is
The main
the
character.
character, yeah. So yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to promote your book for 30 seconds, so to
Thank
our
you.
viewers. So yeah, if you want a copy, please order on Amazon. If you'd like to read it by borrowing, two review copies are available with OBLC library. You would like to review once you borrow this. So thank you, Dr. Kauthar, for the review copies for the library. And same, we have three books from Dr. Zainab, Sultana, another Sultana, and her journal. These are the three books that are authored and published by Dr. Zainab. She has co-authored 69 other books. So just wanted to take this opportunity to promote both your books on our
Thank
platform.
you so much.
And again, for Dr. Zainab's books also, they're available to borrow from OBLC library, and you would borrow from us and leave reviews for her. So I think that's it. If I would like to invite you both, if there's anything else you would like to add on the subject today, most welcome.
I want to say something that teachers, okay, this is Omani Teachers Day, and I would say that being an educator in this country gives me a lot of pride. I'm born and brought up here, and being a part, giving back to something to the system, it makes me very happy and honored. And I want to say something that teachers shape the life of students, but one thing, the students also shape us.
Very
It
true.
is their life experiences, the
Beautiful.
way they connect is we are learning from them. We're not just teaching them, rather we are learning. It's like an ongoing interconnection. So yeah, that is what I wanted to say.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I agree with her that the connection with your students are so very important, and you do absolutely learn so many things from the kids. How to be compassionate, how to be patient. They really do teach you, and being able to be in this country and become a citizen of this country has been a real honor for me. And being able to help the disabled community has been an honor for me. Um, those children with disabilities, you'll be amazed on the things that they can teach you. For me personally, I love to work with disabled kids more than I like to work with mainstream kids. They are just beautiful children, and they are a gift from God. And I just, when I'm with those kids, it brings me great happiness and great joy. And the things that they have shown, how resilient they are, how they will keep working on a task until they understand that task. So that is something really special about the children that have these types of disabilities.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think Samina was saying congratulations when I was showing your books. So thank you, Samina. All right, I think that brings us to the close. We've covered all the topics that we wanted to talk about, and it has been wonderful talking to you both. We can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us. So, thank you, everyone who's watching, everyone who asked questions. Thank you, everyone, for following today, and thank you to both our guests for this
Thank you.
session. For the session honoring Omani Teachers Day today, and for the love and encouragement. Happy reading to all the book lovers out there. Thank you so much. See you soon. Good night.
Good night. Bye bye.